All right, I see we are live. Oh, this is great. So here we are in Antioch, Illinois. It's a beautiful summer day, unlike yesterday when I thought it was going to be a beautiful summer day and then it started raining. So welcome to my virtual art fair booth. Well, virtual for you, but actually physical for me. I have a variety of art on my wall, much as I would show at Outdoor Festival. And today we're going to talk about some of those pieces. You might be curious how we're doing this, though. We're using an iPhone that's here in the booth. There's another one in my hand. And then inside our home, my wife Nancy is really running the program. So she's pretty fantastic. I'm just going to give you a peek in here.
Hi, everyone.
So there's Nancy. I have a nice soft light on her. She has her computer. She can monitor any comments, and then she'll do split screen views as we need them. So bye, Nancy. So let us go back to the booth. So right now we're in split screen mode, but I'm actually going to take the main camera and have Nancy switch that one on. And this camera I will set down. There we go. I'll just set that on the table. We'll go to the main camera. Awesome. Terrific. So now the main camera is full screen. So again, here we are in the booth. Heather, I just saw you popped in. Welcome from LA. That's terrific. I'm sure we have people viewing this from all over the country and all over the world. If you're in this audience, you're actually within a special group because I did not widely promote this. This presentation and last night's presentation are beta tests. I'm just testing out this whole concept. And in fact, one of the things I was trying to achieve for these presentations was to be able to use a wireless microphone, walk all over, and I bought all the necessary gear, hooked it all up. Ultimately, it didn't work. Yesterday, I tried, scrambling to Walmart and Best Buy and finding other things, and those didn't work either. But before I do it again, I'm going to get this wireless audio figured out. So to begin, I don't have a teleprompter, but I do have my notes here. So let's get started. Those of you who are elsewhere, around the world, around the country, if you could leave where you're at in the comment field, that would be terrific. And Nancy sees those. I don't get to see him here in the booth, but I am curious where everyone is from. So I've already welcomed you. And why am I even doing this? It's a lot of work, although it's not as much work as setting up and doing an art festival. Nancy and I make our living traveling around the country, going to outdoor art festivals. And we do between 20 and 25 of those a year. And now this year with the COVID situation, all those shows have been canceled. I have a few that might go on in the fall, but I doubt it. And in fact, even if they go on, we're somewhat hesitant that we might want to attend. But we thought what would be terrific would be to go live on Facebook and share our art with those of you out in cyberspace, right? So that's why we're doing this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun last night. I think we had ultimately 150 people that viewed it. We had about 30 or 40 making comments, so it was a good time. What I'm going to do today is select 4 of these pieces on the wall, and I'll tell you the story behind those, and we'll look at those in more detail. So if you have any questions for me as I'm giving this presentation, if you put those in the comment box, then Nancy will split the screen, go live, and she'll let me know what those are, and I can answer those. So before I begin, I think some of you know, maybe many of you know, that now that art shows aren't on, I'm doing a monthly giveaway contest where I'm giving away one of my lenticular pieces. And it would be something like this. It would be a 12-inch high by 12-inch wide matted lenticular. This one's a two-phase. So every month for the near future, I'm going to be giving away one of those. Now, to enter that contest, and I should qualify it by saying you have to be in the United States. I'm not going to ship these internationally, but you go to my website, michaelbrown.com, and then you sign up for my mail list. And when you do that, the computer date stamps your entry. And so I will select all the entries I get from June and do a drawing on July 1st and give away one of these lenticular art pieces. So Nancy, later in the program, will put it on the banner for my website. It's basically my name, michaelbrown.com. If you're already on my email list, you enter again. Okay, now you won't be listed twice on my email list, but the computer will date stamp the software, so I'll know who went to the site and signed up for the month of June. Last month we had about 100 entries, and I expect that we'll have about that same, maybe more. If my promotions are successful, maybe there'll be more people. But 1 in 100, that's a pretty good opportunity to win a lenticular art piece that I normally sell for $99. So that's the giveaway contest. So I'm not going to bore you with any more of this information. We're going to start looking at some pictures. So I'm going to have Nancy go into split screen mode, and we'll turn on the second camera. All right, now let me just put this tripod. Apologize if I'm giving you guys room to go. So you can see both views here, so I can look around the booth with this camera, and then you can see me from the other view as well. So the first picture we're going to look at is this one here, which is called Porcupine Mountains. And Nance, if you want to turn on the mic, portable camera, that would be good. Might have better audio. So a lot of the lenticular artwork I make has to do with seasonal change. I'll go through two different places at different times of the year. I like to photograph scenes in all 4 seasons. This particular piece is so remote, you cannot get to this location in the winter. The roads are all closed. So I photographed it in springtime, which you see over here. And then we were back up for a summer trip, and all of a sudden, we were back up for an autumn trip, and all of a sudden we had this gorgeous sunset that occurred. So this has 2 views in it. There's a view from summertime, where the greenery is all fresh, the sky is blue, and then from autumn, where you have the nice sunset and the fall colors. So that one is L217 Porcupine Mountains. And if you want to show this to anyone, you can see this on my website, michaelbrown.com. I guess I should add at this point, a lot of people like viewing these and they're not necessarily going to purchase a picture. If you're in that category, you could do me as an artist a great favor. And when you see me do a post or do a video or do a live stream, if you could share that with your friends, that would be terrific. That helps me get the word out. When I go to these outdoor art festivals, they often have tens of thousands of people attending. But when we do something like this in my backyard, only a few hundred people get to see this. So anything you can do to help me by sharing my posts would be greatly appreciated. All right, so the next picture I want to talk about is this one in Paris. You can see the one below, it's a little crooked. So this is a 2 view. Another series I like to do are daytime and nighttime. So this is the Eiffel Tower at twilight, where you have that nice blue sky and the city's just beginning to turn on its lights. And then over here, we have daytime. So this is something Nancy and I did a few years ago. Normally, when I'm doing landscapes, like the one we just looked at, the Porcupine Mountain, I'll have my tripod set up and I'll mark the position of legs and be very precise. Well, in Paris, I couldn't do this. This is from the Trocadero Plaza, and there were all sorts of people milling about. But when I looked down at my feet, I was basically on a tiled outdoor plaza. And the grid work of that tile let me set up basically a coordinate system. And so I was able to note where I was using the cracks or grooves in the sidewalk. And then that evening I returned and I had to slowly shuffle my way through all the people to get to that second location. So both of them were handheld, but it just worked out great. I was able to, even if I'm doing the photography handheld, if the camera's a little crooked, I can always realign that in Photoshop. So I'll typically level the 2 views together. And then sometimes for whatever reason, one or the other might be a different size. Maybe I accidentally didn't use the exact same focal length. There was some magnification error. Sometimes if the camera focuses on different distances, it will increase or decrease the magnification of the picture. So there are little technical issues that I'm aware of, and then I work out before I make the print. So with that, I want to have Nancy break in a little bit and go to the main camera. And I just want to find out where folks are from.
Hey, everyone. All right, we had a request from Stephanie to see her aunt. Hi, Stephanie.
Can you turn off the handheld camera?
I believe I can.
Since I set it right on the ground, it's just a gray screen.
Okay.
So Stephanie's here.
Yep, Stephanie's here. And we.
From Prairie or from this.
Yep. Oh, Krista Renfrew just said hello.
Krista Renfrew, nice to hear you're saying hello. I can't see you, but you can see me. Lakefront would be next weekend, Krista. We're all sad. Lakefront is the Lakefront Festival of the Arts. It's a great outdoor art festival held in Milwaukee each year. But once again, like so many art shows, it's canceled.
George Toft is here with us.
Oh, George, you came back. George is one of my 3D buddies. Besides doing these changing lenticulars, I also do 3D photography where you can see pictures with depth. And most often, 3D pictures require a stereoscope to view them. The lenticulars don't. You can view those without the stereoscope. But 3D photography is really a special interest of mine. And so I belong to the National Stereoscopic Association, and people like George also belong. We generally get to see each other once a year, but not this year because that convention's been canceled as well. But next year, Santa Fe.
And Barbara Clark is here from Massachusetts, and she said she's seen your work in the Memories Gallery in Provincetown.
Oh, nice. Hi, Barbara. So the Memory Gallery is actually out on Cape Town in Provincetown, and there's a few fellows that own it and work there, and the sales rep there is Herb. Terrific guy. I think he does a better job selling my work than I do. He's so darn personable. But wow, that's awesome. Welcome from Massachusetts.
Yep. And Naylene is here from Chicago, and she says she really likes your Campbell's soup picture.
Oh, nice. I'll have to give you a sneak peek of that. I think I have that in the booth somewhere. Oh yeah, in the corner.
And Heather Lowe is here.
Heather's also a lenticular artist. She lives out in LA. And she, unlike me, I do photography, right? But Heather's a painter, and she actually is able to convert her paintings into lenticular artwork. And she's been in some nice art shows too. I can't remember, but I think, I doubt it's heatherlowe.com. It might be, but if you look up Heather Lowe, Lowe, and the word lenticular on Google, I'm sure you'll find your way to her. So welcome, Heather.
And Carl Wilson said your Porcupine Mountain picture was one of his favorites.
Oh, nice. Hey, Carl. Carl's a great 3D photographer, did a phenomenal Disney series at night out in Disneyland in California. Really neat.
And then of all the VIPs, we have a special VIP, which is Barbara Carpentier, my mom. Hi, Mom. Oh. That's always sweet. And Robin Brown.
I should say hello, Mom.
Robin Brown is checking in from Milwaukee, and she's also super VIP because she's our daughter.
Yeah, Robin Brown. She goes by the Instagram handle of Birdie, and she's a graphic designer.
Yep. And
so
Roland,
should I continue on? Oh.
Roland Miller's here also. He loves your beard.
From Utah. Roland used to be the head of the art department of College Lake County here in Illinois, and then he escaped Illinois, and I didn't even know that until he already had relocated to Utah. So we never got to have one final connection. But Roland, I appreciate, because years ago at the College of Lake County, he had a show called New Pixeltorialism, and it had probably about a half dozen artists working in the digital realm in one way or another. And Roland actually invited me to include a few of my lenticulars in that exhibition. So I thank you.
Cool. We have Ann Guzmer here, and she says that you are in her dining room and you wink at her every day.
Well, thank you very much. I have a picture I featured last night. It's actually a three-dimensional self-portrait of me, and as the viewer walks by, I wink at them. I'm happy to hear it's in the dining room. So many people hang that in the bathroom, the guest bathroom, and I'm winking at their friends. In fact, one couple came to a show in Chicago and said, "Oh, you were the life of our party. We had your picture in our guest bathroom, and when people came over, we could hear them going back and forth, laughing, and it was terrific." So the lenticular artwork is entertaining. It's a lot of fun because they change as you move, and so it's very interactive.
And Gail is here, and she has your hummingbird picture and a bridge in the woods and the owl, and she bought it at Brookside.
Oh, awesome. So Brookside's in Kansas City. Gail, thank you. And actually, I want to thank all of you that have purchased my artwork in the past. It's great. This is how Nancy and I make our living. So when art shows aren't going on, you know, things get a little slim. But I definitely appreciate all the past support and those of you that have my work in your home. I mean, so many of those pieces, what you really have are my vision. Places that I physically have gone to and stood there and looked at, and through really the miracles of photography and lenticular, something that I saw, my memory, now is in your home. So really, really appreciate those of you that have supported me in the past. Nancy disappeared. I guess that means I should get busy and show you some more pictures. So let me set the chair back here. We'll turn on the mobile phone. If I can figure out how to use this. There we go. Okay, so we have that. Can you do the split screen, Nance? Awesome. So I'm just going to show, the self-portrait came up before. I'll just show you guys what it's all about. So you can't tell it's a three-dimensional picture. If you're standing right here, you see me come forward, the background go behind, it's 3D. But then as you move by, I raise the glasses, I wink, and I lower them. So that's one of my most complex ones. It has 300 photographs. Well, I started with 300 pictures. It was actually the camera mounted on an orbital dolly. Nancy arced the camera around me from a 6-foot distance. We were doing HD video, which was shooting 60 frames a second. So 60 frames a second, 5 seconds is 300 pictures. When I first made this, I made it with all 300, and I changed a GPU board in my computer, and it would then crash with that many frames. So now I use every other frame and use 150. This one's just about out of its edition. I don't know what new idea I'll come up with to replace that. Someone had mentioned the Campbell soup can. Let's just look at that briefly. That's this one here. So what's cool about this, this is actually a second version studying the Campbell soup concept. Initially, I had made a 3-dimensional one, so the can actually stuck out of the surface, which was kind of cool, and it would change. The can would change color. And this one, what I did is I made the can and the background change color. It's 2-dimensional. This has actually 96 frames in it, and the color of the can cycles smoothly through the entire color wheel. So that's kind of a neat piece. That's not the one I was going to show you next, though. So let me look at my list. These shoes. Shoes is over here. It's very similar to the Campbell soup. This is another exploration. Years ago, I had a 3-dimensional picture of black Converse shoes, and the toes would actually stick out of the picture, and that was cool. And I decided to do a kinetic one. So this one, the fun shoes, like the soup can, the shoes and the background change color. So again, nearly 100 frames in that. And as the viewer walks by, the shoes change color and the background cycles, and then it continues to repeat. So that's pretty cool. All right, now if I can look at my sheet without giving you vertigo from this camera. Winding road. This is the winding road picture right here. It's one of the change of season pieces. So here you see it in autumn. I'm going to move over, and here it's winter. So this is another piece that I actually photographed in all 4 seasons. Most landscapes don't look good in all 4 seasons. They typically look good either in the spring or the autumn. Summer, often things are just green. There's not much change in it. So what I like to do is find the prettiest of the warm season, which usually is either spring or autumn, and then I contrast that with the simpleness of winter. So this is a winding road in Door County. It's actually called Highway 32. Door County is a peninsula in Wisconsin. It juts out into Lake Michigan. And at the very tip of that, you'll find this twisting, winding road. And no one even knows why they made the road wind like this. There are all sorts of theories, and I thought I knew, but then few weeks ago, Nancy said, no, I don't think you really know. No, I looked on the internet, and what you were saying isn't necessarily true. I heard landscape architect Jens Jensen actually came up with this, saying the road should follow the natural contour of the land. And then Nancy was telling me there used to be utility lines there, and the road actually wound around those utility poles. So I don't know if that's true or not. So with that, I did want to show you a few things here and talk about this. So when I make these lenticular pieces, you know, they don't necessarily turn out the first time. I have to do all sorts of experiments and try different frames, try different ideas. And so I do test prints, you know, you can think of them almost as artist proofs, but they're not exactly that. So let me just show you this one here. This is what's called a morph. So you go from this vintage Mustang car over to the modern Mustang. Now this and many of these others aren't ones that I have sold or currently sell. Well, some of my, I guess I currently sell. This train view, so here you see a freight train, the Sioux Line train in red, and then over here, the Amtrak train. And this floor here changes from one to the other. So why I have these out to show you, and I have a whole pile of them here, is we're running a special promotion. So I'm gonna face this camera. Any order we get between midnight tonight, we're going to include one of these pieces, and we're also going to include one of these display stands with it. So you'll get a signed test print, a unique piece, and then you'll get whatever picture you order. So that opportunity goes until midnight tonight. And I hope some of you take us up on that. That would be terrific. So I'm going to set this camera down, go back to the main camera. Else I should tell you. All right. Oh, yes. Well, Father's Day is coming up. Perfect excuse to get a picture. And if you take advantage of our bonus, then you can give a picture as a gift and you can keep one for yourself. So that's pretty cool. I did want to show you one of these. So today I've really focused on the changing lenticular artwork. I also do 3D lenticulars. Now, the camera only has one lens or one eye. We have two eyes. So a viewer looking at this picture would actually see the flowers come forward and then recede behind the piece. So I do have lenticulars. Can't really show how those work on the computer, but if you go to the website, michaelbrown.com, you'll see little animated views that show you the different perspectives in these pictures. Typically, I use about 70 photographs to make something like this, and the camera moves across on a rail, and every frame is capturing that view from a different perspective. And then the lenticular surface redirects a different view to each eye, and that's what allows the mind to see it in 3D. So 3D pictures as well. Well, with that, I guess I'm pretty much done unless Nancy breaks in and tells me there's any more questions. But I do want to make, a little plea again. If you like this, if you like my artwork, if you can share my website or these videos with your friends, I really appreciate it. So I will see if Nancy breaks in, then I know there's more questions. Oh, there you are.
Hey, Mike. Heather's asking, what are the prices of our pieces?
Well, that's a good question. So the frame pieces you see on the wall, those are $375. So those come framed. If you want it without a frame, it's $350. And then the small 12 by 12 matted pieces, something like this, those are $99. And those come ready to frame. You can get a 12 by 12 inch frame on Amazon or the local store. So they're all matted and signed. Any other questions?
I don't see any more. If anyone has any questions, pop them in that comment box right away and we'll answer them. We're happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, we'll wait about 10 seconds. And if not, then we'll end this presentation. Hey, and by the way, thanks everyone for coming. I have a lot of fun. Nancy and I plan on doing this periodically, and we haven't decided if we're going to do it once a week or once a month. But we were curious what's a good time to have these presentations. Now, we did one last evening, Friday evening at 6 p.m. And we're doing this one, of course, 10 in the morning. But I wasn't sure. There's some thought that maybe a Saturday afternoon would be better. So if you have any insights as far as a time of day that's good, evening or daytime, morning or afternoon, or also a day of the week. Like we did Friday because I think a lot of people are ready for the weekend, but maybe Wednesday's a better day. So any insights you can share with us would be greatly appreciated. We are going to do it again, but I'm going to figure out the wireless audio so this works a little smoother. Any questions, Nancy?
There is a question about shipping to St. Louis, Missouri.
Question about shipping. St. Louis, now that's easy to ship to. I had an order last week from the UK, and that's a whole nother story. But yes, we ship via UPS. So generally when we get an order, if we have it in stock, we box it up that day, pad it, and we ship via UPS, and UPS will send you an email letting you know what day it arrives. Generally for Missouri, it's about 1 day.
Perfect. All right. Well, everyone saying thank you, and thank you to everyone for being here with us. All right.
Thanks,
Until
everyone.
next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.